Welcome to Hot Takes. Let's look at the onboarding sign-up flow for an online bank called NorthOne. And I'm going to say this is an area where I am qualified to have some takes because I am on, I think, my third business banking account of my lifetime. And I recently had to switch because the bank I was using shut down, which was a huge nightmare. So I have opinions here. I have some experience here. Hopefully something relevant to say. Let's go find out. So I'm going to pretend that I started with Google and I ran a search, and it's the one you see on your screen. So I searched for a business banking account and I'm clicking an ad like the one you see. And this will take me to the homepage. I'm not going to focus on the site itself. I'm not going to click around and look at different pages. Just going to jump into the funnel here. But since this is a step along the way, I'll make a couple comments with the understanding that in financial services, there's this thick layer of, I guess, compliance and legal stuff where every pixel on the screen, I'm sure, has been validated by lawyers. And so for me to throw out ideas here is probably not the most valuable. So I won't. But a couple quick comments. I love the hero. I love this product image. Sometimes it feels like my whole job is just telling people to put an image of their product on the homepage hero. And here it is, and it's great. I want to see that as a user. I want to know, like, is your thing real? And what does it look like? What's it going to be like if I become a customer? So this answers that question for me right away. Beautiful web app, beautiful mobile app, cool little debit card, sweet, good to go. Another comment is there's a little bit of a disconnect between this open an account in minutes, which is great. That's what I'm hoping to do. I know I need an account and I don't want to spend more time than I have to. But this apply for account CTA, it's subtle, but to me, it carries a little bit of information, almost implies that I might not get it. Like I can apply, we'll see what happens. It's like applying for a job or something. And that causes me to hesitate for sure. I don't know if it's an option to change that. Maybe that's legally what it needs to say. So whatever. But I did want to go check around on some of the competition. So Bluevine has just get started as their primary CTA. I want to say this text is not vertically centered. So anyway, there's also mercury.com. They have open account. And so open account would seem to be a fit and would seem to line up with the messaging here. That's what I want to do. I want to open an account. Apply for account, gives me a little bit of hesitation. Maybe not a huge deal, but let's go do it. It's not going to stop me. Okay, here we are. So now I'm on this sign up flow. I need an email and a password. So I'm creating an account. And so this is, I guess, like a web account, but it's not the bank account. That's going to come separately. I don't think that distinction is important to me as just a guy who needs a bank account. Want to throw out an idea here, though, and that is there's this concept. I'll link out to it in the description on the CXL blog. It's the foot in the door technique. I wonder if this is a place where that would be worth trying, worth testing, if it's feasible. Where the idea being you ask a question up front, and it's not a stupid or trivial question, but it's fairly easy to answer. And in asking it, you convey and you reinforce that hey, you're the thing for me, that you get me, that you solve the problem I have. So one idea that came to my mind is, I guess we have people here who are creating their first business bank account. They're just starting a business and they need a bank account. They don't have one. And then there's people like me who are actually switching banks. And so I don't know if actually those two groups capture all users. And I don't know if there are really a significant number of people in the latter group. Maybe I'm the only weirdo that has to switch banks because I picked bad banks. But if so, then that's the kind of thing where if the very first step, instead of this form to fill out with a bunch of validation and fine print language, if the first step could just be really simple, 2 little boxes, click one. Are you opening a new account, starting a new business, or are you switching banks? I would click switching banks. And when I click that, now there's an opportunity to give me just a little customized, reassuring messaging here, where it could be like, no problem, we make switching banks a breeze. Minutes to sign up and we'll take care of everything for you. You can transfer your balance, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's wordy and obviously not the right thing, but just a quick reinforcement like, hey, totally, we get that. We do bank transfers all the time. That's our thing. If I'd picked I'm starting a new business and I need a bank account, a little reinforcement like, hey, we make it easy. You'll be up and running in no time. You're doing the right thing. It's really important to keep your bank account separate and we'll make it simple for you. So it would be something I'd be curious to see. Is this as the first thing I see after opting in, after clicking the CTA on the homepage? Is this the best step, or could we get me to answer some kind of simple question? And the idea being, once I've done that, I'm slightly invested in the process. And so I guess the question there would be, do we see more people get past that? Do we see like fewer bounces or exits from this page based on that being the first question? And does that carry all the way through? Do we actually see more people actually sign up and activate an account? I don't know. Something I would try if I had the numbers, but let's go forward. Oh, okay, one more thing. Let's see. The little plus sign, right? The open a NorthOne account in as little as 3 minutes with the plus sign. I don't know how many people are like this, but me, I want to go see what's the fine print here? What are you calling out? And so I scroll down and it says based on NorthOne user data, which actually is fine. Like that's honestly, how else would you determine how long it takes? So I don't have a problem with that being where the 3 minutes figure came from. But all of a sudden, like now I've gone to the fine print and now I've got this question of user data on my mind. And I'm like, oh, user data, should I be concerned about that? I know there's some companies that it's like they use your data for stuff you don't want, or like, should I be thinking about privacy now? And it takes my brain down a garden path it doesn't need to go down. I might be literally the only weirdo who thinks that way. But if there is a way to phrase a similar message, because this is a strong message, I don't think there's a better value prop at this stage than, hey, it's going to be quick. If there's a way to do it without the fine print, I would try that too, I guess. Like, is it possible to say in just minutes or in minutes or a few minutes? Maybe not. This becomes a legal thing. But just an observation. Even maybe like a superscript 1 or an asterisk might be subtler there to me. Something about the plus really grabbed me. It made me think, oh, this is serious legal stuff. I need to check it out. I think this is good. I got nothing much to say here. A little bit of subtle social proof. I guess, one variable on this page at large is we just have the plain white background, and that matches with the aesthetic of the site. And I really like it. But I guess we could consider having some sort of imagery, like a little bit more going on here. That might make the fine print stand out less, possibly. But I'm not real strong on that one. That's something to think about, but I wouldn't really bet money on it. So let's go. I'm going to create an account here. So ordinarily, I would be using LastPass to generate a password and fill it in for me. But I'm using a guest window because I don't want any of my weird browser extensions to mess up the experience here. So I've just got it in my clipboard. So put in my email, put in my password, and then, okay. So this is interesting too. If we imagine that I generated the password, and I don't know how most people do it, that would be interesting data to have. Like, are people just like ABC123, or do most people use a password manager? I'm curious now. I don't know, but I see all these little guys light up, the lowercase, uppercase, special character, 8 characters, but the one didn't light up. And so now I have to go down and be like, wait, what'd I do wrong? Like, what'd I mess up? And it turns out nothing, because it's just the passwords match. And so if I paste again, I'm good to go. But that slowed me down for, a split second. I don't know if I really believe that is enough friction to cause a significant impact on how many people actually open bank accounts. But it's something to consider. I guess I would look at it like if I see people start, like type into the password field and then not make it to the next step, if I see enough of that going on, then I would want to dig into it a little more and possibly just play around with the way the validation UI is presented. Like, the passwords match could be something to leave out and only highlight if I enter the second password and they don't match, for example. And so that would have solved my little issue just now. Maybe I'm the only guy with that issue. So that's something to think about too. Just how do those appear? That dynamic, interactive sort of like light up when you pass the test thing. I don't know, but I don't guess password creation is really the issue here. So let's keep going. All right. Okay, here we go. And so now I'm in the funnel. So what is my phone number? No real issue with giving that up, I guess. So I'll enter that. I think I want to say, I guess this is a progress bar down here. I'm not totally clear on that though. I'm just assuming. So there's all kinds of different ways to present a little progress tracker meter thing. And I wonder if, well, for one, I guess removing it entirely is one experience to test. But then, I don't know, like, am I on the first step? Am I at step 0? So to me, this isn't really clear where I'm at. And I guess, too, I wonder if there's more messaging that I'd want to see here. Like somehow in between the home page saying, yeah, I'm going to apply, and then just now saying, okay, I'll create an account. And now what is your phone number? A chance to check in and say, hey, just a few more steps and we'll have you. I actually don't know what's going to happen because of that uncertainty about the applying for the account and how that works. Like, do I have to wait to hear back whether I'm approved or not? I'm not totally clear on where I'm at right now. And that might be fine. It might be just the momentum carries me through and keep me focused on the task at hand. Like, that might be the best experience. But something to play with here is just kind of like a little more explicit, you are here type language. Great, your account's created. We just have a few questions and we'll be able to get your banking set up or something like that. I assume that's my status right now, but it's not clear. And maybe making it explicit would help. Totally not sure. All right, got my phone in. Let's go. I think one of these is going to, okay, yeah, so there we go. All right, so that's that step. So I completed, I guess that's steps I've completed. Yeah, all right. This is exactly the kind of interface I had in mind with the initial question. I almost wonder, like this could do for a foot in the door question before the account creation. And again, not trying to assert that that's going to improve things, only throwing it out there as an option. If I've already told you what kind of business I own, and then you tell me, okay, we need your email and you need to create a password, then I'm kind of bought in. So the theory goes. So let's see. I have an S corp. Well, let's see. Yeah, an LLC as an S corp, I guess. I never really know. Let's see. It's definitely not that. Definitely not. Yeah, okay. Corporation. Cool. Name of the business. Oops. Got it. Okay. Maybe time to talk about the images here. So I personally am a big fan of this minimalist interface where there's lots of white space. And I guess there's this option to go back, but it's very subtle. And the progress tracker is as subtle as can be. And the images, I guess I just see as a variable. One option might be to pull them out entirely and have this, where you're typing just be centered on the screen and everything else almost like don't even look at it. And then I wonder too about, honestly, this woman, like, I don't know. I feel for her posture and her elbow. So it's a variable, right? We could show like kind of aspirational photos, like what does success look like for the small business owner? We could show, I guess, instead of like these kind of lifestyle photos, it could be designs, icon stuff is a possibility. And I, in my mind, that doesn't seem like it should really matter. But again, with enough volume to test stuff, you might as well try, I guess. So no photo or these photos or just slightly different photos or different visuals entirely that are not photos, all seems worth a shot. I wouldn't be shocked if nobody cares, but I wouldn't be too shocked if one of them was a win or two. I just wouldn't want to make a bet on which one, because who knows. Okay. Revenue over the last 12 months. That is a good question. And this is the first question for which I have not been prepared. And so this is a big question in my mind I don't know the answer to. To what extent does it make sense at what point do we want to prep people for like, hey, here's what you're going to need to finish this process? I'm almost tempted to abandon right now and see what kind of a win back follow-up reminder email I get. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do that. So because I don't know off the top of my head my revenue for the past 12 months, and it says enter your best estimate, but what I'm unclear on is what's at stake. Like why do you need to know? What are the consequences if I get it wrong? How wrong can I be before it becomes a problem. Like I'm an overthinker, in case you can't tell, and I don't think everyone coming to this website to create an account is an overthinker like that. But for me, I want to get it right. And so if I was really focused here, I'd have to break out of this tab for the first time, have to, stop my application process and go open up my accounting software and run a report and get a number out. But I think this is a good opportunity just to see, okay, well, what happens if I bail out? How do you get me back to the site? So I'm going to close the tab and I'll restart the video after I see what kind, if I get an email, basically, is what I'm thinking will happen. So see you soon. All right, I'm back. I did not get a win back email. There may be one that I just didn't wait long enough for. I waited till the next day just to see. And I don't know exactly how that would or could work, because I suppose I did get like a verify your email address email, and I suppose that has to go out before you can email me more. But anyway, that's a consideration maybe beyond the scope of the website, but something to think about is, when people do drop off, where do they drop off, and what, if anything, can be done to get them back to the site. And I will say, when I come back, if I'm logged in the same browser session, or once I log in, come right back to the same step I was on. So that's super nice. So here we are back to this revenue question. And this happens to be just a minor nightmare for me because, again, the bank closure, which facilitated a QuickBooks issue that I could not resolve. So now I've got like 2 different accounting softwares, 2 different banks. So I am going to enter my best estimate here. And I guess one last thing to point out is, again, back to that question of, are people like starting a new business right now, or are they changing banks? In the case where you're starting one now, your revenue for the past 12 months, I don't know, it might be close to 0. It might be literally 0. And so it could just be me, but I wonder if this is a place where some kind of a little tooltip for the people that are just kind of freeze up like, oh God, money, I don't know. I feel anxiety around this question, where they could just kind of hover over a little tooltip and it would just say, I'm assuming the answer is it doesn't really matter. I'm assuming that there's no wrong answer here. But yeah, like, how are you going to use this? Or what, if anything, is the consequence of me getting this wrong? I don't know. It might help to provide that. It might not. It might cause people to bail or whatever, or game the system. So something to think about. But I'm just going to put in my revenue here. Here we go. $1 million billion. And moving on. All right, industry. Another fun one. I love how there's like so many different and completely like non-aligned classifications for industry. Like there's NAICS, and then there's, I don't know if this is based on NAICS. I think this is different. Yeah, this is a different grouping from NAICS. So my NAICS code won't help me here. What do I do? Good question. Can I start typing? No. Okay. I don't know if a predictive type in, start typing your industry and we'll match it for you thing would help here or not. That seems like a pretty heavy lift just as a like maybe try it out type of thing. Maybe not though. Maybe someone on the dev team like can bust that out. I'm not sure. It would take me forever. Let's see. I think I do consulting, and I do sales and marketing consulting. Seems like to be what I do. Okay. Maybe this is another one where if there are people on the borderline or unsure of how to answer, that it could cause hesitation. I don't know what can be done about that. I guess, again, I have the question like, how important is it to get this right? How are you going to use this? Do you have to know this during this step of the process? Like, do I have to know this to open a bank account? I'm not sure. Any of these activities. All right. This is a good one. I'm saying it's good as in like the little icons and the layout make like the spacing is just perfect. Like I think this is great. This is just the right size and presentation for me to be able to scan it and give the right answer. So, and I guess it's clear that there is a right answer. Like you basically, you can't do the thing if you have any of these businesses. So I don't, so that's fine. Okay. I'm curious what happens if I pick the other answer, but I'm obviously not going to play around with that. All right, and yes, I've read that whole thing without a doubt. Continue to application. Oh, okay, I moved too fast there. Continue to application was a little bit of a confusing CTA there, as in like I thought I was already applying. But let's see. Okay, so we're back to this question where we left off yesterday of, yeah, like what do I need to finish this process? And at what point should you tell me what I need to finish the process? So it's a little interesting to me that I had the little progress tracker and I just finished the thing. I hit the last step and I completed it, but now I'm onto the application. I don't know the answer there. And I also wonder again, okay, at this point, if I dip out, now will I get a win back email? Not sure. Information about mine, so name, address, social security. Okay. Business, such as EIN. Okay, so this should be pretty easy though. So yeah, if anything, I mean, name, address, and social security number is really easy info. Like I don't really need you to warn me that I'm going to need that, I don't think. EIN might be a thing that most people have to look up. I've always got mine at hand. The revenue for the last 12 months was actually, if anything, like that was a question where I was like, I'm not really sure. So let's go. All right. Appreciate you pre-filling that. Describe what your business does in detail. Okay. Now we got a tooltip. Let's see what the tooltip says. Okay. Not sure how much detail is detailed. The example there was pretty good. Marketing agency specializing in web development and logo design. Specializing. Okay. And another progress tracker. Cool. So I don't know as an applicant if I need to understand what these two distinct phases of the application are or not. No idea, but I guess it could be something to play with, right? Like, can we just make them all merge into one instead of breaking them into pieces? Like a single progress tracker, a single set of questions, or else a little prep explanation. Like, first, we're going to ask you a few questions for whatever purpose those first questions were about. And then we're going to get information about your business, which allows us to register you with something. I'm not sure. It's not a bad experience, but I guess I have a little tinge of like, when will this be over? Like, I thought I was about to be done. Now I'm back in another form. When will it end? So, okay. It's a small thing, but I'm pressing the down arrow to select one of these suggested addresses, and the down up arrows don't work. Tiny nitpicky thing, but whatever. I guess that's something I expect to be able to work. This is cool. Yep, that's where I live. How many years at this address? Round up to the nearest year. Okay. Add social media accounts, optional. Definitely going to skip that. So I guess here we have a testable thing. Like, if we just remove that step, does that help? Do people drop off at this step? I don't know. It's the question of like the buildup in my mind of how long is this going to take? How long has this taken? When will it end? Do I still have the energy? Am I in a rush? So I'm not sure. I guess if this is valuable to do for me or for NorthOne, then maybe explaining that, like, why should I add these? How's that going to help? What do I get from adding these? I'm not sure right now at this point. I'm still not clear on, am I going to get an account, or am I going to have to wait for a decision that'll tell me whether I get an account? And if it's the latter, is this part of it? Like, does showing you that I have a website help my case or something? I literally don't know the answer. So if there is something like that, if there's some sort of like, here's why you should do this, it might help to convey that. But let's see, contact info, corporation info. Okay, I already answered this one. Is there any way to make me not have to answer this one again? Because, oh no, okay, I answered like broadly, like it's a corporation. And so now I get it. Okay. Yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal. That's fine. I'm assuming these choices are presented to me because I picked corporation at the earlier step. So never mind. I take it back. That's fine. Great UI, by the way. All right. Let's see. I'm curious if I switch to LLC, S Corp. Okay. So this is an interesting point. I don't know if this could be confusing. I know because I'm an S Corp that I am a full-time employee of my business. Like I did that, so I know that's the case. In an LLC, I'm not sure how that works. Like if you're not actually paying yourself on payroll, but you are running the company and you are working full time, do you count yourself there or not? I would be curious to know if people with non-S Corp LLCs have that question, if they do get confused there. And if so, again, is like this a tooltip opportunity or something? But no idea. It's not an issue for me. All this stuff. These steps are nice and quick and clear. No complaints. Owner profile. Let's go. Okay, and then, okay, my home address. Curious about the makeup of applicants, of customers here. In my case, the home address and the business physical address are the same. And I think it depends on the mix of like, are these people that are running shops, or these, pizzeria owners and nail salon owners, or are there a lot of people like me that run businesses online? Because in the latter case, it's the same. So like, is there any opportunity for like same as home checkbox? The same way in e-com, you see like a shipping address, same as billing checkbox. That would have saved me, 10 seconds. So I'm not sure. Again, it's just, I guess this is like an answerable question from the data. How many people put the same address in both? If it's enough, might be worth saving that step. Tell us about your position. Okay, that question to me is a little vague, I guess. Tell us about your position. It sounds like you want me to describe my duties, but then it says job title in the little input tag or whatever here. So, and again, I'm not really sure what to put. Like I think on some tax documents, I have to put managing member. So I'm going to put that here, but this is another one where I'm kind of like, am I getting this right? Do I have the right answer? Am I understanding correctly? So since I don't know, I don't have a great suggestion here, but if it's just a matter of like, we have to put something here, don't worry about it, then that's one thing. If it's like, this must match the same thing you made on your, your whatever corporate documents, your articles of incorporation, or the same thing you put on your tax returns or payroll or something like that, then I want to know, because I might be getting this wrong. On the other hand, it might just be fine to say founder or CEO or boss man. So if it's that flexible, then it would be good to indicate that. Maybe give more options or something. Like most people say X, or if it's just you, put CEO or something like that. Not sure. But yeah, I might reword this and just like, if it's just the job title, like tell us your job title would be my suggestion. But who knows? Who owns it? I am the only owner. Okay, yep. What if I say co-owners? Oh, interesting. I'm not sure what happened just there. That's probably user error, but I think I just clicked the radio button for I have co-owners, and I was just curious what happens. Now, I must have tapped this on accident. Okay, anyway. The truth is I'm the only owner. But if I do tap that, what? Oh, I must have scrolled down on accident. Okay. So, yeah. I feel like I should investigate this. Save my profile, that's different from submit. Okay. So add legal co-owner. There could be a little friction in that stuff. Like if I don't have co-owners, so it's not really relevant. But if I do have co-owners, maybe just a message that says, great, we just need some info about your co-owners before we can proceed. Might be appropriate. I'm going to go back to this, and I guess I need to edit because I picked the wrong thing on purpose. Sorry, just being stubborn. Boom. Okay. That works. Control person. I've never heard that phrase before, and I've done like a lot of paperwork in my day. Okay, and I guess it's fine. But like, is there an official name for that? Like, is this phrase unique to NorthOne, or is this unique to the banking industry? Because I've opened multiple accounts, never heard it before. Also, well, whatever. Maybe you just need me to indicate this explicitly. But if I said I'm the only employee, no co-owners, then could anyone else be the control person? Or is it safe to just assume and let me skip this step? And I don't know. Because I always see it as a win if you can take a step away, but perhaps legally I got to click this button. So I will click it. But yeah, if there's a more common phrase, control person for managing the legal entity noted. I'm sorry, I just don't have like the legal vocabulary to know if there's another way to say this. So I'm just going to move on. All right. Gonna run a background check. Standard process, sure. I'm ready. Why not? I like that. These dynamic kind of messages during the load screen are great. Did a whole like podcast interview with somebody about this experience, like the waiting experience of apps. And I'm willing to bet that the fact that it switches messages as we go is actually keeping more people like staying with the process instead of giving up. So that's a good one that gets a point from me. Status update has been sent. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm at the end here. I imagine there's more I need to do. For NorthOne, like to count this as a conversion, I guess. So log out. Is log out what I want to do? All right. I'm going to log out and go see what's in my inbox. All right, back once again, and I guess this is it because I got some sad news in my inbox, and this came instantly. So I don't know what it's about, but I don't qualify for an account. And so it goes, maybe I'm kind of shady. Maybe I did something wrong along the way. As far as just the UX and from a conversion perspective on that funnel, I didn't have a whole lot to say. Like there's a lot to love there, and really just a few maybe minor opportunities to like clarify, reduce friction, test out, switching some stuff around. I'm curious though why I didn't qualify, and if I really shouldn't qualify, then that's fine. Like the system works, but considering that, like, I don't know, I do have a bank account, I do have money in the bank, I do have a legit business, I don't do anything illegal. I wonder if I entered something just wrong along the way, unwittingly. And I wonder how much of that is going on. Like how many rejected applications potentially shouldn't be rejected. Like I would be really curious to audit, where did I go wrong? And is that, like, is this decision right? Or is it user error on my part is essentially the question in my head. And if it's right, then it's right. Like that's how it goes. But if there's some sort of user error, if I was sloppy in the way I responded to something, or wrong, entered something incorrectly, or whatever, put something inconsistent between steps, then I wish I knew what it was so I could potentially go back and make a suggestion on, well, here's how to clarify this question, or make clear what's at stake for the question, or something like that. I didn't actually enter $1 billion a year for the revenue question, for what it's worth. So I'm not really sure, but that's what I got. I'm going to go back and review, and I'll just do a quick wrap up of key suggestions from this session, because I won't be able to go all the way through to activation and transferring money because I didn't qualify. All right, back for a quick wrap up. One thing that occurred to me while I was just going back and reviewing, and I didn't think of it at the time, but the address map, when I enter my address and then I see a map of where I live, that was cool. I don't know if that helps or not, though. So I wouldn't expect this to make a huge impact on conversion either way, but it's one more element on the screen. I wonder if just leaving that out would have any effect at all. It seems like, anyway, that's an easy test to run, right? Like just hide the element and see. So that's one thing to consider. But high level, as far as what really I would expect to make a difference, I think the biggest things here are, number one, the preparation, the here's what you'll need communication. And there's a couple variables there. There's where does that occur? Does that go in before you even enter your email and create a password, or immediately after that? Or does it come at after a certain number of steps, because the process was broken up into two? And so when or should you in the first place even convey that? Here's what you'll need. You're going to need your EIN, you're going to need some revenue data, stuff like that. Where do you ask that? And then what do you include? What should you tell me I will need, if indeed it's even necessary to say anything about it at all? So that's one variation, would just be you're on your own, you'll figure it out. No step like that at all. But then if you're going to try a step like that, what do you need to tell me? Do you need to warn me about my name, address? Because I think I know that, so maybe that can be left out. And then finally the presentation of that step too. What does it look like? What is the wording of you telling me here's what you'll need? So that's a big variable. I think a lot of different experiences to test there. And then the other big idea to me is I clearly got lost throughout the process. Like I didn't know where I was. The first section had a progress tracker, and then I thought that was it, but then I went to a new section which had a separate progress tracker. And so is it easier for me to think of this as an applicant, as one big process with one big progress tracker, or one big process with no progress tracker? Or is it helpful to convey with more clarity, here are the two stages of the application and why they're separate, or what's different about them, what each one is about? That's a big variable, I guess. So should it be broken up into two, or all merged into one, or even broken up into three potentially? And of course, the potential to hit people up when they've stopped during the process and remind them via email, hey, your application's waiting, you're almost done. So there's that. And then I guess a final idea is the images throughout that first section, and they disappeared for the second part of the application. But do those images help? Do they need to be there? Could they be different types of images? And one fancy little tweak that occurred to me is if we have the power to like rearrange steps throughout the process, then one of the questions toward the end was, what's your industry? And I think that's maybe a good one to push further up the funnel, potentially even all the way to that like foot in the door very first question, pick your industry. If it is possible to move that question up in the funnel, then a fancy pants option might be to take that industry response and use that to determine which images are shown during the first phase of onboarding. And I realize there's tons of industries, so that, obviously you can't have like a different set of images for literally every industry. But if, say, 80% of applicants choose from amongst, 3 to 5 different industries, if that's the case, then it's totally feasible to have 3 to 5 sets worth of images that correspond to different industries. And I wonder about that. If you ask me my industry, and then I go and I'm answering these questions and filling out these forms, and I'm seeing these little images, like I opened a coffee shop and look at this, all these cute little coffee shop images. I wonder if that would have any impact. That's a stretch. That's a reach, maybe. That's a bit of a technical lift, but it's something that occurred to me. So that's all I got. Unfortunately, I don't qualify for an account, so I won't be going any further. But all in all, like, this is a great UI, really smooth process. So nothing really glaringly stands out in this. Just some variables to tweak. Thanks.